Court budget presentation. Lori, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. My name is Lori Nishik. I'm the clerk of the City Court here, Municipal Court, and I don't have a presentation to put up, so I'll just be talking through our updates from last year. So from a people perspective in our office, we have one elected judge. She serves a 4-year term. We have 2 alternate judges that can sit in on the bench when judge has to be gone for any reason. 3 full-time clerks. I'm one of them, the clerk of court. There's 2 others. Nicole Tallman has been with us nearly 5 years, and then Stacy Tinkle just started. She's been with us since February. So the types of cases that are presented in municipal court, we handle B misdemeanors and criminal infractions. So the misdemeanors are things like the driving under the influence, driving under suspension, their petty thefts, their disorderly conducts, things like that. Criminal infractions involve possession of alcohol, possession of marijuana, paraphernalia, those types of things. We also handle the traffic citations that are issued by Minot PD officers, the speeding tickets, stoplights, all of those things, and then also the parking violations that happen within the city. A project update from last year. There are 2 projects on our list that involve Tyler Technologies to help us get through those projects. One of them is a citation integration between the ticketing system that the officers use called Brazos and then the court system that we use called Odyssey. There is an integration that can happen there where the citations would automatically flow from the ticketing system into our system. What's currently happening is we, at the court, have to print off every citation that's issued, enter them into our system as a case, and then that paper gets thrown away. So if we could integrate that system, obviously it would save on supplies and it would save really a lot of time in our office to free us up to do other more efficient things. And again, that's on hold from Tyler. We've been on that list for quite some time to get that project going. It just, for one reason or another along the way, there's always been a delay. The second Tyler project we're looking at is online payments. Currently, we cannot accept an online payment to municipal court, and that too is a Tyler project. They've got us on hold because of some bigger projects they're working on, so we are on that list. We're just waiting to get essentially our number to come up on that. That would also save us a lot of time in our office because right now we take phone calls, many interruptions throughout the day, answering the calls just because somebody wants to make a payment and they can't do it online. So the third project that we had been working on was sending a clerk over to the jail to do appearances for prisoners through IVAN, or the Interactive Video Network System. We did buy some equipment last year. We needed a printer, we have an iPad, all the things that would help us to do that logistically. We did some testing for that, and that's kind of where it stopped for us because it takes, to do that process, we need a clerk in the courtroom that's at municipal court. We need a clerk at the jail that would be in the IVAN room with the prisoners. Because of the signatures and things that we have to send back and forth, we do need representation in both spots. That leaves only one clerk in the office at the municipal court office to get the paperwork ready for morning appearances, check people in, check people out. In the meantime, there's phone calls to field and other things. So it just doesn't work to do that with only 3 clerks in the office. So it's something we're still interested in doing, but at this time, it isn't feasible for us to be doing that. As far as our caseload in municipal court, the caseload overall from 2021 to 2023, our caseload increased about 25%, a little bit more than 25%. Year to date this year, just to this point of the year compared to last year, this point of the year, we're up about another 10%. So our volumes are definitely increasing, and we feel it. We feel it in the office. As far as the budget goes, any changes? We don't really have request for 2025 to make a large change in our budget. It's pretty stable as far as, you know, the items that we do purchase every year, mostly supplies, you know, things like that. But we do have some future needs that will need to be addressed at some point. The major one is location. We are growing out of our space. Our space is hard to find. That's our number one complaint that we get from patrons, people that come in or talk to us on the phone, is our location. You know, you're hard to find. Why are you here? This doesn't look like a court. We hear it all the time. We clerks there's 3 of us. We're working in a office space of less than 300 square feet. We don't have room right now to even get larger desks, which we need with our increased volume, to be able to spread out, to have, you know, additional equipment on our desks, maybe bigger monitors, that kind of thing. But we don't have the room to do that. And we definitely could use at least a part-time person in our office to help get us through that rush in the mornings for court. But again, I have no place to put another person in our current space. So objectives for 25, finalizing those pending projects. We hope at some point we can get over the finish line on those. Maintaining the judicial standards, you know, for judges, clerks, and courtroom. And then continue partnering with community agencies to provide support and services to the people that come through our court. Independence Inc. is typically in our office during court to help partner with people who need their help. Their assistance has made a big difference. And so we really try to make sure that anybody that comes in that needs help, that we can provide information on where they can get that help, where to go, who to talk to, those types of things. That's all I have prepared. Are there any questions?
Any questions, Council? Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And maybe you can answer this one. Tyler Technologies, is that the same company that we went through with kind of our failed experiment? Is that, are we reading the tea leaves that we might be headed that same direction? Is that something that we need to cut bait and move a different direction? I would look to maybe whoever can answer that.
And maybe Dave can help answer this question, but so we buy a complete package from Tyler Industries. It helps with our financial backbone on a lot of things, but there's different suites. Some of those work, some of those don't. We did kind of cut bait a little bit on the HR stuff, which Lisa talked about earlier, and we have the new system up and running, but we are running into challenges, particularly within the municipal court area, of getting those done. And I think our priorities have been more of the backbone functions of Tyler, which Dave can address here with regards to priority.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, one of the issues we're seeing with Tyler currently is they're telling us that we have to change our credit card processor by the end of the year. And they have 2 choices for us. One is Tyler Payments and another one is another company. Our current processor that we had, Paymentus, here some time ago, we had to go to an intermediary called BridgePay to facilitate these transactions, and they are being phased out. We are biding our time. We're trying to work with Tyler to get some ideas on pricing. We've tried to push back on them a little bit, saying that this is not how we like to do our procurement process, is a unilateral type of contract when the pricing is not clear. So we're holding on until we can explore all possible options with that. Some of the first adopters of this type of program are now leaving to go back to another type of processor, so we're just trying to wait that out and see what happens. In the meantime, we don't want to bring on any new projects that utilize that type of payment portal because we would have to change it again here at the end of the year. So it would be throwing money away that we would have to change and then potentially change again. So we're just riding this out to see where we land, and then we'll put those to the top of the list.
Okay, thank you.
I would just add one more thing to that. Our court system that we use is also a Tyler system, Odyssey, so the integration from Tyler to Tyler
Okay.
also.
Okay.
Go ahead, Paul.
One more. And just, we talked about location, and that's been kind of, along with some of the, public safety needs and whatnot. Give us an update where you guys, what the processes you guys have gone through, even with, I know there was talk about moving to the county, courthouse building, some of the challenges. Why was that not, did that not move forward, just to kind of get us all up to speed? And have you guys looked at any other alternatives other than just city property, or is there something else, other ideas that you guys might have?
Yeah, so we were offered a one-office area space at the district court that we could use. However, from a size perspective, it would have not helped us at all. It wasn't large enough even for our office, let alone office, lobby, courtroom, all of that. And then we're part of the larger EAPC study with the police department for space needs there as well.
Say along with that, city staff did go look at some additional county space in the county administration building that was recently vacated by the state, I believe. The challenge there is that space is way bigger than what we need. Would have significant remodel costs. And by the time, I've done some preliminary calculations, by the time you calculate in remodel costs and then whatever rental cost would be, there was also some concern from the county with regards to security. And they would expect us to help at least partially cover the cost of a security position. And all those costs begin adding up, that we wanted to explore other alternatives, including coming to a decision on what we're doing with the current police station. Because within those numbers that Chief Klug provided you this morning, that also included a new municipal court facility through those processes. And so until we have some of those decisions, direction from council and the community on where to go with those, we weren't comfortable moving forward with some of the cost figures that we were seeing at this point.
One more, maybe a little bit off topic. We had the conversations previously about, combining the county and the Minot Public Library, and do we revisit that conversation that maybe opens up space, whether it be down at the county level for, again, and this is just me speaking, it makes sense for you guys to be by Ward County. It makes sense. How many times do people probably go to pay a municipal parking ticket, go over to Ward County and say, not here, you got to go to the auditorium. So again, it just, to me, that makes too much sense sometimes. But I understand if there's not space available, there's not space available. But if there's maybe a rekindling of a conversation, and I know the county shot it down, but that board has changed, revisiting the combining of libraries, which comes as a cost savings to taxpayers, one, but then two, maybe opens up an opportunity for municipal court to relocate. Part of a bigger conversation, but just wanted to put that out there.
Any other questions? Lisa, did you?
My question was answered,
Okay.
so thank you.
Any? None further? Steve?
Just to clarify, the issue with having two different systems and combining them, is that at our end, we don't have the resources and the time, or is that at the Tyler end where they're not functioning very well, apparently?
It's mostly just being on the project list, just making sure that it's going to take, people from the court and people from Tyler Technologies and probably the police department as well, to facilitate that merging of, or integration of information from the PD system into the court system.
So you just haven't had the time to do that?
We're not, Tyler has us on a hold. We've been on that list ever since they brought Brazos in as the ticketing system for a while. We were on hold, the city was on hold, we weren't ready to move forward. I'm not sure what the reasons were for that, I wasn't.
But now?
But now it's that Tyler has us on hold.
Okay, so it's at their end, the problem.
It is.
Okay, then just a comment, follow up on what Paul said. Although Lisa was the formal council representative of the library committee some years ago, I attended all their meetings, and merging the two libraries would have saved over $600,000 over 10 years. But so with inflation, I think that's a lot more money. And I think after the new council, new county commission have taken office, I think it really would be time to revisit that. Not only would it save money, but it would really improve the quality of services and the resilience of both organizations. They're just a few blocks away from each other. It's insane duplication. So I think that's a very good idea, Paul. And final comment, I think, for the public and for potential new aldermen, is that I've attended municipal court on several occasions, and I've been really impressed with their functioning, both the judge, who has struck me as being an extraordinarily caring and judicial person and very just, but also in terms of the social service and social work functions they serve. You know a lot about that, Scott, but they have a box of clothes for indigent people to pick up. Some of the people I've seen in there have been kind of at kind of rock bottom in just about every respect. And if you feel depressed, go to go to municipal court on Monday morning and see the 20 or 30 people who've been hauled in over the weekend and the myriad of social and personal and substance abuse problems they've had. I mean, they literally don't have shoes on their feet sometimes. And this is I think, a neglected, unappreciated part of the social services system in our community. Again, it's intended to hold people to account for criminal behavior, but they do a lot to help people just survive day to day. So that's something I think people really need to know about. And I'm very proud that the court, under the judge's leadership and your leadership, has done that. It's a very gracious, humanitarian kind of function they serve that I think is in no job description, but is very much needed by some of the less fortunate people in our community. So thank you.
Thank you. It's very important to Judge be able to have those services available and to, you know, for us as well. I mean, we see the kind of struggles they have, even if it's just a very small piece of it in the amount of time we see them, but it's, some people, they're really struggling.
Right.
So we just want to help.
And I should note, too, that when I first got on the council many years ago, I was really upset about the accounts receivable balance for the court. It seemed like it grew every month. And, you know, my thought at that point was that these are just deadbeats who don't want to fulfill their obligations. And I really favored very strongly lowering the hammer on them with increased awareness of what what municipal court does and the kind of people who go there. My view on that has changed 180 degrees. I mean, certainly if people are able to pay, they have to pay. And I think it's good that we're using collection agencies. But so many of the people just are destitute in any fashion you can think of. No transportation, no supportive family, no job, no shoes sometimes. So I'm much more sympathetic than I was before and much more willing to tolerate that growing accounts receivable balance. There's no getting blood from a stone, and that's, I think, the situation a lot of these people are in. My heart really goes out to them. Like I say, when I go on Monday morning, if I was depressed before then, I feel so much better about my life. And I mean, to be honest with you, it's hard to sit there and not cry. I mean, how bad some people have it in our society.
And with that, I would invite anybody that wants to come. The proceedings are public. You're welcome to come anytime, Monday through Thursday, starting at 9.
It restores your faith in justice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lisa?
Yeah, thank you. I feel like I do need to at least comment on the library situation since it's been brought up twice. The work of, or the proposal of merging the libraries came from the 2 library boards.
Right.
So that's where the conversation would start if those 2 library boards were interested in pursuing that again. And it was about a 6-month process of trying to work through it. And then the approval process came to the City of Minot and to Ward County. City of Minot did approve it unanimously, and Ward County denied it. So but that's the process. So anyway, just so anyone is, you know, everyone is aware of how that could happen if that's the step that they choose to take.
Scott?
So first off, Lori, thank you for the kind words about my employer, because we are definitely dedicated to trying to be part of the solution, and I appreciate that. You had mentioned, obviously, the 25% uptick in caseload and 10% in the last year. What part of the job is doing that? Like, is it increased DUIs, DUSs? Is it increased other charges? Like, what is actually pushing that?
Let me grab my notes.
Okay.
If we just look, for instance, at 2023 over 2022, percent change for DUIs were up 33%. Driving under suspensions up 23%. Petty thefts were up 74%. Simple assaults up 50%, Animal cases, about 80%. Disorderly conduct's about 10%.
Thank you. So obviously, there could be some awareness, not from municipal court, but more from crime awareness, crime prevention, and things like that to knock down some of this, hopefully, and be able to, I mean, I guess we can point out there's all that increase despite what we heard about this morning, which is a shortage in law enforcement officers within our regions, or within our cities. So the final thing I would say is that it's true, as Alderman Patagula said, that you go there and you see people that are struggling, but I also think it's important to realize too, that's oftentimes, I saw in numerous occasions where that's the turning point in people's lives. People that were at rock bottom were able to connect with services, were able to get in front of a judge that held them accountable but didn't punish them. And, people come in and be like, I think specifically of one guy, and he was so excited to be there. He's like, Your Honor, I've been sober for a year now. I finally got my life turned around. I'm working. He was like so excited about his fiance who had never even gotten a parking ticket before, and how much that had turned his life around. And I think as hard as it is to talk about the tough stuff, it's important to celebrate the good stuff as well. So I appreciate everything that you guys are doing.
Absolutely, yeah. We do have some really great success stories there as well. And everybody's different in the way they respond. Sometimes it doesn't happen on the first encounter. It might take 2 or 3 or 4, but then the light bulb sometimes will come on, and, we're just there to support them however we can until they are ready.
Any comments or questions from candidates? Go ahead, Mike.
Just one quick one. I just wanted to go back to the the video appearances system, Lori. Can you talk about that a little bit more? What is the court or maybe the judges? Not that you have to put words in her mouth, but because I see that kind of two ways. There's maybe some efficiencies. It's nice to be able to do that if there's bad weather. Is it important for someone who is making an appearance to be right there in front of the judge? Like, there's a lot to this. There's transport, there's a lot. So can you just
Exactly.
comment a little more on that?
Sure, and I think you're talking specifically about the IVN appearances,
Yes.
which is for prisoners.
Yes.
And a lot of it is just the liability to the city of transporting prisoners, especially in the winter.
Yep.
With the snow, the ice, the cold, they're shackled. If they slipped and fell, they've got they can't brace themselves on a fall. And just moving people around, anytime you move them, there's possibility for something to go awry. So it's so that they get their day in court and as soon as possible, right? So, we could say that we're only gonna do these appearances on Wednesdays. Well, somebody coming in that could be seen on Monday now has to wait until Wednesday. We don't wanna do that either. So it's efficiency, it's liability, and it's not having to move them so much.
Okay. And just to follow up on that then, so I assume many of them don't have defense counsel, but is there any concern from their side that they're not getting face-to-face with a judge? I just want to make sure that they're not losing anything in that process
Right,
either.
and if they requested to see the judge face-to-face, we would have to make that happen. We would want to make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Seeing none. Oh, Harold? Thank you, Lori.
Thanks, Lori. I just wanted to follow up on the conversation with some numbers with regards to the county space and the county administration building that we looked at. So I had reached out earlier this year, to EAPC, who had done the space needs assessment. So based off of that assessment, we anticipate that we need about 3,900 square feet to meet the needs of municipal court. So the renovation cost, they estimate to be about $200 to $225 a square foot. That puts you in the range of $830,000 to about $928,000 for remodel. And then the initial response from the county as far as lease costs was anywhere from $14 to $25 a square foot, which you use that same 3,900 number, you're looking anywhere from $55,000, almost $100,000. I asked if that was a monthly rent or an annual rent, and they didn't really respond to me. They just said, make an offer. So again, depending on where that would be, those numbers begin to add up very quickly, and then add on the cost of either cost sharing or providing a security guard and the salary and benefit costs with that. It adds up very quickly, which is why we were holding back to wait on the decision with regards to the police station.
Thank you, Harold. Can we just move right along to our 3 o'clock?
That's me.
It's you.